G'day. Been busy recovering from some sickness this week, so here's a snippet from one of my coaching calls. Enjoy. The
Yeah.
reason I bring that up is because of the second point, the victim mindset. For everyone, myself included, it's a lot easier basically
Mhm.
say, oh, the world decided to take a fat shit on me. Life is not fair. Woe is me. I am a victim in all of this. Because that's the easy way out. For a long time,
Oh,
I,
I
I
agree with
myself
you, man.
played that role. So when you
And I
were
played that role when my arthritis was getting really bad to the point where I couldn't walk. I was like, "Oh, this fucking world hates me." That was my thought process, and I was like, I do that a lot, and that's the number one thing I put that on my little weakness board behind me because I just started putting papers on my wall. I'll turn on my camera. And I've just been like writing things on my wall and stuff back here. This is my daily list of, meditate, what I do every day and stuff like that. And I just, been putting shit on my wall to remind myself, like, get out of that victim mentality, because, you can fix it. It is your responsibility to fix it.
exactly right, fix the things that are within your control and don't worry about the things that aren't in your control. So when, especially your parents, like your friends, I don't know your friends. All right, there's always exceptions to the rule, but generally speaking, your parents always want the best for you, or what they want the best of what they believe is the best for
Mm-hmm.
you. So if they come to you and express concern saying, hey, I don't think you should do this, or I think you should do that, or I think this, I think that. Usually, like, I don't know your parents, but usually that's from a place of love and a place of good intention. My parents are first generation immigrants, so that makes me second
It's
generation.
same with mine. My
Yeah,
parents,
so
I'm
we
first
have
generation into this country.
so we have quite similar upbringings in terms of having this cultural difference, a dissonance between what we experience in our childhood in relation to our childhood friends, what we grew
Mm-hmm.
up with, versus what our parents and grandparents and extended family say is the correct thing to do. Let's go into some specifics. Do you have any examples you would like to bring up?
My family looked at me as a walking report card. That was the biggest thing. Yeah, that was, you need to get a good school to have a good life, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that, you know what I mean? That instantly, like, turned me off from school. And I regret that, now thinking about it, I'm grateful to understand what I did, but I regret doing it to my parents. You know what I mean? Because it was my fault growing up too. And I've come to understand that. But at the same time, it could have been done better both ways. But I don't want to continue victimizing myself like I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes. This quote by Bruce Lee when he was talking about how he came up with his martial art called Jeet Kune Do.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Absorb what is useful, add what is uniquely your own, and discard the rest." Why I bring that up is in relation to what your parents are saying or what your grandparents are saying. You should get a good job, you should study well, and all that stuff. That is a very valid pathway. Now, I understand with the modern, well, I say modern, but it's kind of been happening for the past 20 years. But this shift towards technology, where instead of having multiple countries in the world, we are ever more increasingly becoming what I'll call a global village,
Mm-hmm.
where everyone is like the same way you're talking to me right now. We are
Yeah, dude.
miles apart, like thousands of miles apart, and yet we're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
to each other as if we're in the same room.
I
Because by
know.
the
And I love
power of
it.
the internet, by the magic of Discord, we effectively are in the same room. So, through the magic of the internet, we have become a global village, which means a lot of the things that were previously outside of our, let's call it access, we couldn't access it before. For example, I could not physically, or unless I made a very expensive phone call, I could not talk to you. You could not talk to me. But now
Mm-hmm.
this is effectively free.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, there's been a big, big push, especially on the internet. Like this is where it originates from, to start your own business, especially when it comes to creating a digital product or starting an online business, a digital business, one where you can do what you want. Like this is the dream that's being sold, where you can do what you want, make yourself happy. and get paid at the same time. But that foregoes and ignores the very real possibility that most endeavors actually fail. I forget the statistic, but it was something crazy, like 80% of businesses fail within 2 years.
Yeah, you're right.
So the message that's constantly being pushed, just start online business, start a social media presence, get that shit right, and then you'll make money. Yes, you will, if you can do it successfully. Not everyone can. So what do we fall back on then? Our grandparents' way of thinking. Get a good job, work for a decent company, get a good salary, get a pension.
Mm-hmm.
But that mindset, that prevalent mindset of get a good education, therefore you can get a good earning job, and therefore you're set for life. That is still a valid way of thinking with a few asterisks. For example, if I decide to take, like, luckily in Australia, we don't have the same kind of student debt that in America you guys have.
I grew up wanting to do a job that didn't require a college education, and my whole family thought college was life, college is this, college is that. But then there was some click in my father's head when he quit his job that he wasn't happily working, and he found the job that he actually started to enjoy, and he realized that he can actually improve himself in like specific companies and specific things. That's more what I like. I like kind of like going up in like trades. Like I know how to weld. I can fix a car no problem. I can woodwork, you know. That's the kind of mind that I have. I'm not like a digital guy. My grandparents didn't want me to do that. They thought like people were going to look down on me for working a laborer's job like that, but growing up you realize that no, man, no one really cares about them.
Yeah, but you know where they're coming from though, because
Oh, yeah.
when they grow up, this is actually the truth for them. This is the reality for them. When and where they grew up, working a laborious job where you have to basically exchange your physical labor for money, that was seen as low class because
Mhm.
the wealthier class, they didn't work physically. They might work by managing their business, but they didn't have to exchange their physical labor, so that when they were 30, 40, 50 years old, they didn't have aches and pains. They were still living a fairly comfortable lifestyle. So
Yeah.
in their minds, that is still very much true. Same thing with my grandparents. They still hold on to a lot of the beliefs and values that they had when they were growing up. So my grandparents are close to 100 now. So if you can imagine a century ago what the culture and what the system was like, completely
Dude, a century
different.
yeah, a century ago we were going through another economic crisis, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
that's,
They grew up in a
yeah, I,
war.
I yeah, I really appreciate, you allowing you really forced me, you kicked me out of this fucking bubble that I'm in, man. And I appreciate it. I needed that kick in the butt, you know? I'm still working on that, like, that ideology of like I can do it if I really try, but I always tell myself I can't.
Yes, story of every kid's life.
Yeah.
That actually brings me to the next topic I want to discuss.
Hmm.
And I'll either make a video about this and post on YouTube, or I'll host a lecture in the coming few weeks. It revolves around the power of the mind, the mindset, and why I'm a huge, huge advocate of mental health. Because take this very simple example. If you had a clone of yourself, same height, same body fat, same physique, same
Hmm.
parents, same wealth, same everything. But the only difference was in that clone of yourself, it wasn't you in there, it was James Bond, or it was Batman, or it was Superman, or just imagine some extraordinary, exaggerated Giga Chad character.
Yeah, fucking Adonis, bro.
Exactly.
Like,
Imagine like an
yeah.
Adonis
Mhm.
character
I'm thinking,
inside the
yeah.
body of your clone. Now, on the surface, on the outside, everything's the same. No one can tell the difference because physically, there is no difference. But give that person a day, a week, a month, and that person, now remember, this is fiction. This is an exaggerated version of someone or something. But it's a great mental exercise nonetheless. This person will accomplish so much more than you will. But physically, you're all the same. Why is that? Because of the mindset. Right. I use this example a lot when it comes to people asking, well, how do I approach girls? How do I talk to
It's a
girls?
great example. It is an absolutely great example, man. I 100% agree with you, and that's what I've been talking to some of the guys in Discord. They're like, "Oh, the height this, oh, the height that," but I'm like, dude, here, let me conjugate my thoughts real quick. I'm a little bit all over the place. I was really excited about talking to you, so I had a few things I wanted to talk about, but you're kind of answering them as you're going. So let me conjugate my thought real quick. So, like, you know, I think mindsets can be influenced by other people around you too, by their mindsets. And would you be able to, agree with that? Or is that like a no? Like that doesn't happen really?
No, I agree. Mindsets don't exist in the vacuum. Or they don't come into fruition. They don't just magically enter existence out of nowhere. Your mindset is formed by your own experiences. And I'll talk about what I call reinforcing experiences in a moment after you finish your thoughts.
Yeah. And so, you know, I've like I've always tried to force myself into groups. I've tried to force myself into like relationships, and I've always tried to. I put on a different persona, like when I go out. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely.
I'm a big. I can switch personalities in front of people. I worked in restaurants. That was like a daily thing for me. I have a different personality when I'm with my parents. I have a different personality when I go out. You know what I mean? I'm trying to like get rid of that, I guess.
So you're saying you want to become more authentic so that instead of faking it
Yes.
till you make it, you actually do
Mhm.
make it.
Yes. Cuz I want to start making it cuz I'm not making it anymore. This faking shit isn't working for me, you know what I mean?
Hmm. Now, I have two, they're not necessarily conflicting approaches to this. They're complementary, but some people will view these as opposites. I
Go on.
strongly believe in faking it till you make it. No, really, I do. I strongly believe that's how we all improve, faking it till you make it. But when people hear that, they go, oh, no, 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 that's not genuine. That's not authentic. That's not you. You're faking it. It's literal in the name. It's fake.
But the only way for you to start new habits is faking those habits until they become grained in your head though, right?
Exactly.
Kind of.
Bingo. So,
Yeah, okay.
like the
Okay.
James Bond example, or
Okay.
whatever I use, Batman or something. How does James Bond or Batman or Superman or Giga Chad, how are they so confident? Because they have what I'll call reinforcing experiences. They've lived through life knowing or having the experience to back up what they truly believe. For example, if James Bond approaches a girl at a bar, he's not thinking, "Oh, I'm worried she might reject me because what if she doesn't like my suit? What if my tie is ugly? Oh, what if she doesn't
What
like my
happens if she
watch?
thinks
My
my
hair."
car is stupid? Yeah, yeah, I get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
James
Uh-huh.
Bond doesn't think about that. He might have when he was a kid, but right now, at least the persona of James Bond, as he's portrayed in movies and on TV, he's this very ultra confident person. He walks up and says, "Hey, how you doing? I'm James Bond. Nice to meet you," and whatever other words he says. The thought that the girl would find him ugly doesn't even cross his mind because he's had multiple experiences, multiple reinforcing experiences in the past that
Mhm.
tell him he is not ugly. He's quite attractive. And so instead of faking it, he has internalized that belief. It's no longer a
Mhm.
fake belief, it's a genuine belief that he holds. But for us mere mortals, right, we don't live in works of fiction, we live in real life. We can't just magically snap our fingers and get those reinforcing experiences. So what do? We fake it. We act as if we already have a girlfriend, or we already have $1 million in the bank, or we already have whatever it is that we want. We don't, of course, But no one knows that. No one on the outside knows that, at least not at first glance. If you approach like a James Bond character, no one has reason to believe that you're not a James Bond character. It's all internal. It's all in the mind.
But that was your job. That's what I looked to you as, for you to change my view. That's what I came into this conversation going, for you to change up my view a bit so I can get out of my head, you know? And
Yeah.
that's what you did, man, and I really appreciate it, dude. I can't ask like for anything more. Genuinely
Sounds like I've done my
appreciated
job
the
then.
time today, man. Yeah, man. Shit. Man, now I got a lot of thinking to do. Fuck.
It's good to hear.